Okay, we will go ahead and get started. Kendra, if you want to go to the first one. Okay, so just as a reminder, there are no waivers, and I say none, but hold tight. There are no waivers for summer feeding, the SFSP for summer of 22. The sites must meet the 50% free and reduced eligibility requirements or be approved by census. There's census we can check. Some schools don't meet by the 50% site requirement, but they, in some instances, are meeting by census, and we can help you work through that. The meals must be consumed on site. Only one meal may be given at a time, and no parent pickup of meals is allowed. Now, I went like this. There's no waivers, but I think I've got a slide on this coming. Again, I'm going to talk more. There are a few waivers that USDA is allowing the state to apply for, but let me get to that slide. I'm kind of jumping the gun. So go ahead for one more, go to the next slide. Sorry, Kendra. Okay, so for sorry, one more. I didn't see you had advanced it when I said that. I apologize. SSO summer of 2022. So the current waivers we've had this entire school year that have been allowing the SSO flexibility do extend until June 30th of 22, but that is only for summer, seamless summer option, SSO, not SFSP. And you have to meet the area eligibility or the census requirement in order to have those flexibilities and be on SSO until through June, or if you want to go longer, but the waiver flexibilities are only good through June. Participating SSO sites within the districts must be 50% free and reduced or located in an attendance area that qualifies. Otherwise, the SSO must end on the last day of school. And it's 50% free and reduced and census as well. Only 2 meals may be served and claimed through SSO. And you can pretty much do any combination with the exception of you cannot do lunch and supper together. That's not allowed on either of our summer programs. Okay, next, please. If you are doing grab and go meals through June on SSO, June 30th on SSO, you must have a process in place to ensure only 1 meal per child per meal service. So just like we've had to do this entire time of COVID with the flexibilities, we still have to ensure program integrity and only 1 meal is going to a child. That could mean marking a name off a roster or writing names down to ensure that is happening. Also keep in mind the nationwide waiver allowing SSO flexibilities through June 30th. Okay, I'm jumping the gun again. This one is referring to the state waiver that I can apply for, and there are 3, and it's the 3 listed on the screen, which is non-congregate, parent pickup, and meal service time. Those can only be tied to COVID. I have not applied for them yet. I plan on getting those in by the end of the week, and that does not mean that because I've applied for them, you automatically get to use them. Right now, there's not a need. They specifically have to be tied to COVID. Again, there'll be a slide coming to talk more about that. Okay, if any of you on this call operate the CACFP at risk, which is also called the third meal or the supper meal, but it's really the CACFP at risk, that program must stop your last day of school. No questions, no waivers, a state waiver, no extensions of waivers, nothing. CACFP at risk supper and snack, if you do a snack with it, must stop at your last day of school. So it's dependent on your district's last day of school. Okay. And then, okay, so here's the one I was just referring to. So for school year 22-23, USDA is allowing states to apply for waivers. So they're going to be called state waivers, because if you remember, I believe on the last couple of calls we've had, I have mentioned that USDA does not have waiver authority any longer from Congress to issue any waivers. They weren't funded. They were not, authority was not given back to Secretary Vilsack to do any waivers. So what they've done is they've said the states can apply for certain waivers. And there's only certain waivers within the regulations that even states can apply for. So for school year 22-23, if there's a uptick or a variant that comes and you all have to go and do distance learning or virtual learning for 2 weeks, a month, 3 weeks, whatever, however long it might be, I am going to apply for those 4 that are on the screen. It's the non-congregate, the parent pickup, the meal service time, and for high school, offer versus serve flexibility. But again, it's only if your district has to go to a distance virtual learning option due to an uptick in COVID in the state, in your district. I'll have more information. I'll be putting more information in the waiver regarding that, but it's specific to that. It's not that you can just have them whenever you want them. That is not what it is. It specifically has to be tied to COVID. So like I said, an uptick in cases down the road. I'm hoping this doesn't happen for the kids' sake, for your sake, for the school's sake, but they're allowing us to do that. So I'm going to apply on a kind of a just in case we need them, because if I wait to apply for them, they can only take effect from the time I apply forward. So if it took 2 weeks to get them approved, there'd be a 2-week span where nothing could happen. So again, I'm applying for these. I think we went the wrong way, Kendra. Okay, there we go. And then there are specific state waivers, like I stated, that cannot be applied for. And those, some of those are listed on here, and they're the more specific ones that some of you all are asking about. I cannot ask for a state waiver to do anything about the nutritional content of the meals, or also known as the meal patterns. I cannot ask for anything regarding the federal reimbursement rate, like you got the higher rate this school year. Nothing can be done about that. And then I can't request a state waiver regarding anything to do with the provision of free and reduced price meals. So you will be collecting applications next school year. So keep that in mind. So those, okay. And then we paid the second round of state match last week on May 4th. The first match, state match round, was paid on April 23rd, and the second was paid last week on May 4th. So those were deposited into your child nutrition account last week, the May 4th, the second batch round. We do it in 2 rounds. Please keep in mind that meal patterns in school year 22-23, they're doing a transition, and you are going to be allowed to serve 1% flavored milk in school year 22-23. Flavored fat-free is still allowable. We've had that question. You still are required to serve an unflavored milk, 1% or fat-free, at your lunch and breakfast meal services. So you could do 1% flavored and 1% white, or fat-free chocolate and 1% white, but you are able to do 1% flavored this year. 1% flavored is allowed also for Smart Snacks, so on your a la carte line, special milk for ages 6 and up, and CACFP for ages 6 and up. We have 3 districts that do special milk. And then as a reminder, you are required to serve an unflavored in addition to a flavored. Okay. Then the next one, I believe, is dealing with sodium. So you're going to maintain sodium target 1 for this school year in both NSLP and SBP, and that goes into effect July 1st. There will be you'll implement an interim target. They're calling it 1A for the following school year, 23-24. We'll remind you of this. And basically it's an increase of 10% from target 1, and that goes into effect July 1 of 23. And then you'll maintain target 1 sodium in the breakfast program for the next 2 school years. But again, this will be updated in our manuals and in our trainings and such. Okay, whole grains, 80%, at least 80% of grains offered must be whole grain rich, starting July 1 for next school year. The remaining grains must be enriched, and this helps provide flexibility for program operators to offer enriched grains when whole grain rich items are unavailable, or when the whole grain rich item is not acceptable to students. I will also let you know I'm getting lots of emails from school districts that are having trouble getting bread bids back, among other bids, just bids in general. I have sent that to USDA so that they can make the national office aware that this is an issue, because it could ultimately affect, grains in general, but I believe ultimately it could affect your whole grain options too. So yes, a lot of schools are very concerned about bids for the coming school year. They're not having any luck getting anything back. And I just really feel it's the companies, the manufacturers do not want to be tied down to a price. There's a lot of volatility in pricing of food right now, continues to appear to go up. I don't really see it coming down anytime soon. And so I think they're concerned about being locked into a price with you all, unfortunately. So I know this is not just an issue in Oklahoma. I know it's happening in other states. And again, that information is being sent to USDA and the national office. Anytime I get one, I just send it on so that they're aware. And the emails I'm getting are from some of our larger districts. So, and I'm letting USDA know that too. I'm not saying smaller districts aren't struggling with this issue of bids at all, but the emails I am getting, I have been forwarding. Any that I get, I would forward so that they're aware. Okay, next. Okay, the supply chain assistance funds, those were paid out back in March. We still have some schools that have not returned their attestation statement, and they are getting phone calls because we have to have those back. Whether you wanted to opt in or not, we have to have that form back. We have to. Because if you don't opt in and you opt out, there's some additional funds there. Once we know everyone who has opted out and does not want the money, we will reallocate whatever's left, be it $500, be it $1 million. I don't know what's going to be left because we don't have them all back yet, but that will be reallocated to everyone that accepted. So you will get a little bit more. And we cannot do that reallocation until we have all the attestation statements back. So Barbara from our office is calling the districts we don't have one back for and requesting that. So just somebody might be getting a call about that if we don't have it back. Okay, next. Just a reminder on equipment purchases. I know there's a lot of money out there in child nutrition right now because of the way meals have been served at the rate for several years. And if you're needing to spend money on equipment, we have a pre-approved list on page P8 of the CNP manual. If there's anything on that list, you don't need my approval, but you still need to get your quotes and keep your documentation for that. If it's not on that list and it's over $5,000, I need you to send me an email with your quotes and telling me what product quote you're going with. It's supposed to be the lowest quote, but if you have a reason to use another quote that's not the lowest, I need your justification as to why you're choosing that one, and then we can work through the process. And in many instances, in most instances, we can get that justification and you typically can buy the other product, but just know I do have to have justification for that. I get reviewed by USDA and state auditors, and we have to have our documentation too. So if there's any questions regarding that, please just email and let us know. You do have to follow proper procurement on all that too. So 2 or more quotes. Okay, if you're considering CEP for next school year, 22-23, you need to pull your direct cert. Really, you should have pulled it in April because the time frame was April. And you have to print an enrollment list for the same time frame. The regulatory deadline to pull that is April 1st. Our system doesn't update on April 1st, but our WAVE system updates the first Monday of the month. And so we always say to pull it midweek of that, after that first Monday of the month, which was around, April 5th, 6th, 7th timeframe. If you pulled your information and you're thinking you want to go CEP for next school year, you have to let us know by June 30th. That's a regulatory requirement that we know that you are electing CEP for 22-23. You also please reach out to your child nutrition, regional child nutrition program specialist and let them know that as well. Okay, and if you have questions on that, Nikki Assad in our office helps or takes care of CEP and provision. If you're considering provision 2 or 3 for school, you need to apply on or before August 1st. That's a regulatory deadline as well. The school year 22-23 would be based on your free and reduced applications that you will be collecting starting July 1 or after. The higher free and reduced your district is, the better. We recommend 90% or more, but I know we've had districts that do it with a less than 90%. So it really is up to you. We just do encourage you to be a higher free and reduced district to do a provision 2 or 3. Okay. The PLE, we've been getting a lot of calls on this. USDA did waive the PLE tool reporting requirement for this school year. That's why you haven't gotten any emails from us to complete the PLE tool. That's because you've been serving your meals free. They didn't supply us with a tool, so we don't even have one to provide you. USDA always provided that to us every year, and we sent it out to you to complete. You are still required to charge students for paid meals at the price that is on average equal to the difference between the free meal reimbursement and the paid meal reimbursement. That was the goal of the PLE, is to get all districts up in their paid lunch prices to the difference between the free and the paid amount. We do recommend that you go ahead and go up 5 cents. That's the norm that the PLE tool would have you go up. The maximum it has you go up is typically 10 cents. So we are trying to keep you in line a little bit after 2 years of not charging for meals, in line with what the PLE tool would want. And so it's going to be interesting to see what that looks like in the coming year with when we do go back to reporting the PLE, because we haven't done it for a couple years, but we do recommend 5 to 10 cents increase. So that's why you haven't received an email regarding completing the PLE tool. We don't have an accurate, up-to-date tool to give you because USDA is not issuing us one, and they're the ones we get that from. Okay. PEBT update, the corrections tool should be done within about a week. And so then there'll be a training, and then there will be the ability for schools to go in and make the corrections to the forms that have been collected, the PEBT parent review form. Those will be sent to the districts. So that is really close to being done for corrections for school year 21-22. We are also should be getting any time now the 21-22 PEBT plan has been submitted by DHS to USDA, and we're expecting that approval back any time now. But again, that PEBT parent review form is still online and it can still be completed. It's not too late. Okay. We have some upcoming calls and trainings coming. And so we've got our CACFP meal pattern training. We've got food buying guide training. Our next school call is August 8th. I don't anticipate needing to have one in June or July. I know that a lot of you aren't available. I know some of you do 12-month contracts, some of you do not. If something was to come up, we'll be sending something out. But I know there's some guidance that we're still waiting on. In fact, I'll talk about that in just a second. Oh, where'd my list go? There is some guidance that we are waiting on that USDA keeps telling us that we're going to be getting, but we haven't yet. Your ABVM and cafeteria staff workshop registration is open. So please register for those classes this summer. They are in person this year. So I believe there was an attachment to the reminder of this call as well this morning when it went out for the ABVM and cafeteria staff training workshops. Okay, and that might be the last one. Oh, the cooking for kids. Yes, I forgot that one. There is training this summer for their the culinary skill development training, which ultimately, if you take that course, that will make you eligible to have a personalized chef come into your school next school year. So that is a great option for some trainings as well. And then that information can be found at cookingforkids.ok.gov. And we have sent that out through CARS as well. Okay, so a couple other things real quick before I go to the chat. Your May claim. If you are stopping meals on your last day of school, let's just say May 15th, I use that all the time, and not serving on SSO through the rest of May or into June at all, you can submit your claim. If you are serving you're serving right now, your school's still going on, and then you're going to serve through May and into June, that that May claim will all be one. There will not be a separate claim for May. May will all go on one. Whether you stop on the 15th or you go all the way through the end of May, that will be one full claim. Okay, and then, okay, so let's go to the chat. I had it. Okay, let me scroll up to the chat. The first one, it looks like, is there a 30-day carryover for school year 22-23 for schools to have time to gather applications? We have no guidance on carryover yet. That's one item that USDA says is still coming. I don't have an answer. That's regulatory that there's a 30-day carryover, so I cannot believe that would be any different, but they keep telling us that that's one of the items that they're going to send out in the Q&A, that the latest Q&A that's going to be coming out. So I think somebody addressed where the slides can be found in CARS. No, you don't have to do flavored milk if you don't want to, but if you do flavored, you are required to offer an unflavored option as well. Yes, the bids. Shauna, I understand that. Kendra answered the slides and the link to the school training is located in other documents. In a few days, we have to have it closed captioned before we can post it for ADA purposes. It's located in the school Q&A call section in other documents. Kim, I was told since they deliver all bread to my warehouse, they would still bid on my bread if they deliver directly to each school site. Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't heard that yet, Kim. Who said that? What bread company? Do you mind sharing? You don't have to if you don't want to. That's the first I've heard of that. You know what some of the vendors have been doing? They give us the least expensive quote. And although we spec out the same piece of equipment, they don't include things like water fillers. Okay. Interesting. Can you regroup your sites based on last year's CEP since we didn't need it last year, but now if you're going to reestablish your groups, you'll have to do it based on this year's information, CEP information, Shauna. Nikki Assad, Nikki, nikki.assad@sde.ok.gov for CEP and provision. Edgar put that in the chat, but I know sometimes not everyone can see the chat. The Hinton go up from the last time we charged, for meals, or the price we're currently getting from you all. No, I would go up at least 5 to 10 cents from what you were charging the last time you charged for paid meals, which was March of 20, early March of 20. Schools are already getting out for summer. What are you all doing to notify schools to plan for this? Plan for what, Dana? Sorry. Kay Dodson, they didn't have any dates yet for ABVM that you could see. No, there are dates for ABVM. We have locations and dates. It was an attachment to the reminder of the call this morning. My management company sent me many invoices with different products on it, such as milk, cheese, produce, chicken that we paid for. Then when called and asked, they explained and said that the state was offering money back on certain products. Then, well, there's the supply chain assistance funds, but other than that, there's no other funds. The supply chain assistance is for minimally processed foods. So your management company may have sent you your monthly invoice as well as an invoice of minimally processed foods, and that total can be paid with your SCA funds. If you need more information on that, reach out to us, please. If we are doing state contract, do you need procurement? If you're on state contract currently, you're on it. But if you're trying to get on it for next school year, you can use the state contract as one of your bids. You still have to get a second one. Whoops. Can we go through June 9th? Will there be a claim? You will claim like you normally do. You can't combine months on a claim. You'll do May on one and June on one. No matter how many days in June you're going to claim, it'll all go on June. And all your May goes on May. You do not claim months together. No. May goes on May, June goes on June. Lunch application not did prior to July 1 for the coming school year. That's regulatory. I know y'all have likely already verified. I can serve SSO curbside till June 30th at my sites at Beaver. Also, do I have to write down the name of the child picking up the curbside? Yes, yes. You can serve at sites on SSO that meet the 50% free and reduced or meet by census until June 30th, curbside. Yes, you still need to write down a name or check off a name or something, even if the child is present. That will ensure you don't get a second meal. The child doesn't get a second meal, possibly coming back through later and you're not there and it's someone else. Kendra has put in the chat, you have to click on the links and scroll down to see all the locations and dates of the trainings for both ABVM and cafeteria staff. If you have issues, you can reach out to Sherry Ostley in our office. If we are serving after school is out, are we still serving free? If you're serving on SSO and you meet the 50% site eligibility requirement or census, and you're going to serve after you're out and into June, those meals will be served for free, yes, but only through June 30th. But you have to meet the site eligibility requirement for SSO. Bimbo Bakeries. Okay, thank you. And he told you about the bidding. Okay, well, that's good to know, Kim. Thank you. Just verifying that we can stay on SSO for July. Yes, you just don't get any of the waiver flexibilities in July. They end June 30th, and you still have to meet the site requirement of 50% free and reduced or census. The rates are not out for July yet. I have no idea what the rates will be. They change July 1 of every year, so I can't answer what the rates will be. But they will be the NSLP rates when they do change. Okay, Dana, I was referring to PBT on my question above. Yeah, I know. Trust me, we're stewing over this as well. I completely understand. Trying to figure that out. Yep. Let's see. Kendra, the link takes you to Eventbrite and has you follow a link, and that's it. We might need to look into that. What she said about Bimbo Bakeries, Tammy, was that was Kim Hall at Muskogee. Her bread vendor told her they will bid on her bread because it's going to a central warehouse. It's not going to an individual site. And so at Muskogee, it goes to their main warehouse where the district ships it out to the sites, and that's why they went ahead and bid on that. And I had asked her what company that was, and she was answering me back about Bimbo. Yeah, I guess we need to announce Tammy's retiring July 1. So Tammy's one of several that I'm aware of. So I'd like to just take a minute from the chat to announce that Pam, my understanding, Pam Hart at Moore, sorry, got that, is retiring. Tammy Bales at Mustang is retiring, and Debbie Jackson at Scheidler Public Schools is retiring. And don't get me wrong, I know there's others. Those are just any that I had heard about recently. So we wish you all nothing but the best, and thank you for everything you've done for child nutrition over the years. Tammy has been in it basically 30 years is what her chat says, and I worked with Tammy quite a bit when I was in the field. She had just become the director at Mustang Schools from Mary Waldrop before you. I believe that was right, Tammy. And I had just basically started in this position roughly So Tammy's first review was kind of my first review in the field and her first review as a director of Mustang School. So we go way back. And I know Tammy worked there longer, even before she became the director, and she always did a great job for Mustang. I know I've been to more than once, and Pam did an excellent job at Moore. And I know Debbie, I hear nothing but good things, Debbie at Scheidler. Oh, I just saw in the chat, Pam's staying one more year. Oh, they talked you into it or what? Well, we're glad you're staying, and I know Moore's glad you're staying. So we'll might be having this conversation in a year for Pam. Okay, I'll go back to the chat, sorry. It says, on the ABVM training, there will be a Zoom training coming July through August, or will they be in person? The full ABVM courses are in person this year. Kendra will be breaking them apart a little bit and offering a little bit shortened. I don't want to say that's not the right word. Topic wise, taking it topic by topic on Zoom, but the actual full ABVM course to count for the required training is in person this year. Okay, I'm not surprised that people, companies, not people, but companies are charging fuel charge. That does not surprise me. I think Cisco did that quite a while ago even before the pandemic, there was a increase in gas, and I'm pretty sure some of the bigger vendors had done that. Is child nutrition PB training? Not necessarily. I'll be involved in it. And Eric and I have got to get together regarding I'm sure it will go out through our systems as far as when they will be, but Eric will also send it out through his listserv of people because he deals with the data people. And so I believe ultimately it'll end up being sent out by both to try and get as much information out as we possibly can, as quickly as we possibly can. So as a non-pricing school, do we still need to raise our meal prices in the event that we had to start charging at some point? Well, no, because the charge that we're talking about is for your students, and if you're not charging your students, but you always have to charge your adults, teachers, visitors, contract meals, etc. There's a required price for that. Yes, Sean is tired of the schools getting nickeled and dimed for what's going on. Yeah, I can understand that. Is it okay to go up 10 cents each year for the 2 years we haven't charged? That's up to you. That's totally a district decision. As far as the amount. So if you're able to do that, I'm certainly not going to tell you can't. Just that if you present that to the board for the charges and they approve that, then you're good to go. Let's see, your proofer box just quit. Do I need to get 3 bids? 2 or more is what's required. And it may be on our approved list P8. Check that list. You don't have to get approval from me to do it if it's on there, and I just can't think off the top of my head. 80% of your grain, 80% of your grains for the week have to be whole grain. So 4 of the 5 days, if you're basically a 5-day school, 4 of your 5 days, your grains have grain. You might reach out to your child nutrition regional specialist to have them go over it with you. It's also going to be part of the trainings this summer. So be sure and enroll in those. Cafeteria managers or cafeteria staff. We changed it to staff. Can you do grab and go for SSO during the month of June? Yes, if your site meets 50%, the 50% free and reduced requirement or census. My application for this school year was through June 9th. So I'm good to continue serving, correct? Yes, your SSO application should be good to go, Carrie. Do schools need to reapply for 22-23 school year SSO? Yes. Yep, the application will roll over July 1 and they'll have to apply if they're going to serve into July. Again, no waiver flexibilities in July. Okay, so Pam decided I'm getting to where I had announced retirement. So I'll scroll a little bit. Pam staying a year. There was a list of topics sent out that will be on Zoom. They are each 1 to 2 hour trainings. ABVM and cafeteria staff will not be on Zoom this summer. Those will be in person. As far as the application for free and reduced meals, shouldn't be too much longer that we hear if USDA is going to change the prototype. I haven't gotten wind that they are thinking about it, but there's always that possibility. So we will get it out before too much longer, but you are not allowed to collect it for the new school year prior to July 1. Okay, I'm at the end of the chat. Does anybody have anything else? Okay, I'm not going to keep you just to keep you. Yep, the call's always on cars. So some of you are already out of school. Some of you are quickly approaching the end of the school year. I hope you guys have a great summer. We won't be talking unless something does come out regarding guidance, which it's going to come out. It's just a matter of when it's going to come out. But it's supposed to be PLE. Let me see if I can find my note. I apologize. I had them sitting here this morning. I must have picked them up with something. Oh, here it is. Okay. So the guidance that's supposed to be coming from USDA that they've been telling us for at least 2 months, maybe longer, carryover information for school year 22-23. They're going to give us clarification fruit and vegetable eligibility. They're supposed to talk, and then they're supposed to talk to us about or give us guidance regarding severe need and the 2-cent differential. So more to come on that, because some of those are all affected by how we've been serving, because they're always based on NSLP numbers, and we haven't been serving under NSLP. So those are the things that we are waiting on guidance for. So I'm glad I double checked. I just couldn't find that a minute ago. So we're waiting on guidance for carryover. I apologize if I cut out. Somebody just put in the chat. That's information we're waiting on USDA for. So I don't have any guidance for school year 22-23 carryover yet. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see. I saw a couple things come up in the chat. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. You guys have done a great job. Just keep in mind that we're moving as back to normal as possible for the new coming school year. The transition back is kind of what they're referring to it as. So, you know, applications and things like that will be back on track with all of that. Okay, yeah, I agree. I'm not real sure what normal is anymore either, but we're gonna have to figure it out because it's coming. And I know that a lot of you have, you know, staff who've never operated in any time frame other than COVID time frame, and so they'll be needing information, and so that's why we really do encourage you to attend the trainings that we're offering this summer regarding cafeteria managers. Keep saying managers, we're calling it cafeteria staff. It's not just for managers, it's for all staff. So we want you to bring your staff. We want them to hear the correct information. Even if you have a management company at your school, you're more than welcome to still come to our trainings. We would love to be able to have you and give you information and have you listen to our trainings as well. So D, put a reminder regarding summer feeding. Must be in person this year. Congregate feeding this summer. Cannot do grab and go meals for summer feeding. Summer feeding. We have to specify that, summer feeding. And D is just working diligently on summer feeding applications for you, those of you that are going to do summer food. Okay. Well, you all have a great summer. I'm not going to keep you. We're caught up in the chat. I know everybody has end of year stuff they're doing. Everybody's just as busy as everybody else. And Thank you for all you did again this school year. Again, if anything comes, we will be sending it out. So if you're able to get your emails this summer by chance, there'll be emails that we do send out. So and our next call is early August. So I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if I'm going to have to do a July call, maybe mid-July, possibly late July, and then push the August back a little bit. More to come on that. I just want to be able to give you all the information that needs to be given when it comes out. So, okay, have a great rest of your week and have a great summer. If we don't, oh, somebody's saying do a July call. Okay, we'll get that figured out. Okay. Oh, and SNA Oklahoma is doing their conference. Shauna, do you want to put anything in or I don't know if you can unmute yourself, Shauna, and mention anything on it. I don't think you can. I think we have you all muted because, but it's in July. No, it's in June. Sorry. We'll send something out via CARS too. We've already sent one thing out, but SNA Oklahoma is doing a 1.5-day conference. So we'll get something else out in CARS. We sent it once, we'll do it again. Okay, so several of you are thinking maybe the July call would be a good idea. So I got to thinking about that today, actually. So, okay, have a great summer and rest of your week. I've said it once, but we're going off this time. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate everything you've done. And enjoy your retirement. Those of you that I don't know are retiring, and those of you that I mentioned, and Pam, we look forward to having you for one more year. We'll talk to y'all soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.